Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show. My name is Derek. I will be your moderator and your voice to the chef. So please, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. And now, on with the show.
Hey, all right, I'm Chef Mick. Oh, you can't see me because I have my camera aimed wrong. That's all right. You're not going to see me cook anyway. Well, you're going to see me cook. You're not going to see my face. My name is Chef Mick. This is Cooking for the Boys. I'll walk up here and do this. Guys, let's remember from last week, get our aprons on. And this week we are doing Italian week. I'm going to do 2 quick dishes. You're going to love them. Make sure your oven is preheated, everybody. Make sure your oven is preheated. Make sure you have water boiling or getting ready to boil. All right, we have our aprons on. What else do we need, guys? We need headwear because we do not want any hair in our food. Apron. Headwear. Let's cook, guys. Let me show you my work area real quick and show you what I've got going on down here. Bear with me as I do this because it's me playing cameraman. And here you go. This is my work area. Now, I've got a pot of water right here. The water has salt. Always throw some salt. And the water has olive oil. Always throw some olive oil. That's going to be for our pasta. The oven is on. Ready to go. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about my pizza margherita salad. Now, normally, if you go to an Italian restaurant and you order a pizza margherita, you're going to get a pizza flatbread with tomato sauce, tomatoes, basil, and mozzarella cheese. So, what I do with my salad is I add croutons to it, I throw it in the oven, and I warm it up for you. Now, you can go out and buy your own croutons. You can make croutons at home. I'm going to make some homemade croutons real quick. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. And we're going to go from here. First of all, make sure you have the proper utensil. This is a bread knife. It is serrated all the way through, cuts right through the bread very easily without causing damage or misshaping the bread. If you're going to try to use a kitchen knife, which is what we would normally be using, when you try to do this, you're going to, look at this, it squishes the bread down like this. It damages, and you can't even get the knife in there. Okay? It can be done, but it shouldn't be done. Use a bread knife. Cut bread slices like this. Let's put the rest of this bread over here. And then from here, we're going to cube them up. And you're going to cube them to whatever size you like. Whatever size you like to make your croutons. Always using a bread knife. I think you guys learned last week I am a chunky chef, so therefore my croutons will be chunky. Chunky. I like big pieces of bread, easy to share, easy to eat part of it, and then let your partner have the other part so you can both enjoy the taste of it. So, what else do we need? Well, we need our cooking sheet. This is a baking sheet. I put foil on it because, frankly, it's just too ugly to actually show on TV. So I foiled it up so that it would look prettier. Spread the croutons here. Now, my oven is on, like I told you yours should be. My oven is on. It is on for 350 degrees. I decided I want more bread for my croutons. And all you're going to need for croutons after this is your olive oil, salt and pepper, and whatever else you know. If you're at a restaurant and you're like, wow, this crouton's really good. It's got extra seasoning on it. It's got garlic on it. Whatever. Just remember, when you're making them at home, just use whatever garlic powder, whatever you happen to have that you really enjoy. The great thing about a crouton is that you add the flavor to it. The bread is just bread. In this case, I'm using a sourdough bread. I'm a very big fan of sourdough. But if you're using just the French bread, then it doesn't have any flavor to it other than just the bread flavor. You can throw anything else you want on it. This is extra virgin olive oil. You just drizzle it on top of your croutons, on what's going to become your crouton. Drizzle it on your bread. That bread needs to be facing this way. Very simple stuff, guys. Everything gets a little bit of olive oil. And then we put the olive oil down. Then we take salt. We take pepper. Salt and pepper, olive oil on our croutons. If you feel the need, like I said, if you want to throw garlic powder, onion powder, if you have an Italian seasoning, if you have something special you like to use, go ahead and throw it on there. I use salt and pepper and olive oil. These go in the oven. Now, it'll stay in the oven just till they brown and crisp up. Let me clear this a little bit. So now let's get started on the other part of our salad. The other part of our salad is, first of all, you need an oven-safe dish. This is an oven-safe dish. Glass, it goes in the oven really well, and that's what we're going to use. So, we use basil. Very Italian. This is called the pizza margherita salad. Back in, let me think. Back in 1889, a pizza maker named Rafael Esposito made 3 pizzas for the visit of King Umberto I and Queen Margherita of Savoy. They were coming into town to visit, so of course, everybody's making food for him. He made 3 pizzas. The Queen Margherita, loved a pizza that had all 3 colors of the Italian flag. Okay, so all you saw is I just cut the basil leaves off and I'm putting them down here. All 3 colors of the Italian flag. The green for the basil, the white, which was mozzarella, and the red, which were tomatoes. She enjoyed it so much, she thanked them for having it. And in her honor, he named it a pizza margherita, and it became just became a staple of Italy. Again, this is mozzarella cheese now I'm dealing with. There are several ways to do this, guys. You can cut it, and again, this time use a proper knife. This is kind of bigger, so I can actually use this knife. Okay? Now, if you're going to cut it thinly, that's got to be thinner than that, and you can just put it out here. Or you can get your box grater or any other grater you happen to have. You can actually grate the cheese and then throw grated cheese on here, which, by the way, is not a bad idea. And you can see that looks really good. But I will grate it and I will also slice it as thin as I can and throw thin slices in here. We've got the basil, now we've got the mozzarella, so what comes next, guys? Well, there's only one more ingredient since we're already making our croutons. The next ingredient is the tomatoes. That's right. I, myself, enjoy the use of cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. In this case, I have some very nice cherry tomatoes right here. Again, we're talking about the proper equipment. Now, I can cut the cherry tomato with my 10-inch chef knife, and I can do it that way. And I just have them and then put them on top here. Cut them in half and put them on top. But it's a lot easier to do it with a small paring knife, as you can see. So we just cut them in half. There we throw them here. Now, we're using these tomatoes also in our next dish. So, if you buy one tin of tomatoes, then make sure you have some left over for the second one. I should have plenty. You should have plenty. They have come in there. Now let's top it off with tomatoes. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Okay? So you can see the red, the white, the green. This represents, of course, the Italian flag. And what was the reason that Queen Margherita herself actually liked it. Now, I know some of you guys think, oh, margarita pizza, that must have some kind of tequila and stuff in it. But this is a different margarita, spelled differently, and she was a different person. Extra virgin olive oil. Again, let's put some in here. We should just drizzle some on there, not too much. The problem if we put too much is it's going to get too liquidy in here, and then it's not going to help with our croutons. Okay, so now let's look at our croutons real quick. Our croutons need a little more time. So why don't we do this? Why don't we get to our pasta? I said in our second dish, which is spaghetti in olive oil, I do say spaghetti, but my wife happens to be a fan of angel hair. And you see all the smoke coming up around me? My eyes, my glasses are getting all fogged up. But anyway, so my wife is a fan of angel hair, so I'll turn that down a little. And
excuse me, Chef.
So we use, yes, sir.
Question from Rose Vasquez. What's the difference between virgin and extra virgin oil?
Besides the number of sex partners. That was a joke. No, the difference is the olive oil, extra virgin is the very first pressing. It's the first time they put it into an olive press, that's what they get out of it. After that, the second pressing, the third pressing just becomes olive oil. And the difference is that it's pure, it's cleaner when it first gets pressed. So it could actually, the other olive oils might actually just have some of the olive, like you would for grapes, some of the olives actually pulverized in it and then liquefied. But extra virgin olive oil does not have any of that. It is strictly just the oil straight from the olive. So
is there a difference in taste?
Well, there's a difference in taste in that people will take extra virgin olive oil and put it on their salad or dip their bread into it, and it's a very soft flavor. But olive oil itself, while it doesn't have a different flavor, it has a different texture. It's greasier, it's oilier, and it'll have that aftertaste in your mouth longer. And that's what we try to avoid. With the extra virgin olive oil, you don't have that aftertaste of like just ate a bunch of oil or a bunch of butter, and then it cools off, and then you feel like you have a coating. You don't have that problem with extra virgin olive oil. So I use angel hair pasta. A good rule of thumb, guys: just put your finger and your thumb together, and then fill it up with the pasta, and that should be plenty for 2 people. If you need more than that, use more than that. This is plenty for 2 people. It doesn't look like a lot. Pasta expands, and it will be plain. So we'll drop it in there. It only needs a couple of minutes because this one happens to be angel hair, which is much thinner. So it doesn't need as much time to cook as spaghetti does or linguine. I am a huge, huge fan of linguine, and those croutons are looking great. But linguine is a thicker pasta, so it takes longer to cook. So we have this ready for the croutons.
Excuse me, Chef.
Yes.
Christy and Joanne Kirsty and Joanne are asking how much time do you cook the pasta?
Well, I could sit here and say, oh, it's going to take 10 minutes or 8 minutes. But what you're looking for it depends on how you enjoy pasta. I enjoy pasta what they like to call al dente, which means it has, when you bite into it, you actually have to feel a little firmness at the end. Some people don't want to feel that. They want their pasta to feel like the rice, where you're not supposed to feel anything. It just like dissolves in your mouth. So angel hair, I mean, what did I put it in? I just put it in a couple of minutes ago. So within 5 to 7 minutes, angel hair will be ready. A lot of chefs, or when you're going through Italian school, they say if you can throw the pasta against the wall and it sticks, then it's ready. But I'm not about to throw pasta against the wall. But I do know that you can look at this and I can feel it break in my hand, which means it's still not ready. But in a couple of minutes, it'll break. It won't break in my hand, but it will have a little snap at the end, and that will be ready. The easiest way to find out is just to keep pulling one out and squishing it between your fingers, or if you're brave enough to put it in your mouth and try not to burn yourself, figure out how you want it. But if you go more than 10 minutes, even on spaghetti, you've gone way too long. And spaghetti that's cooked too long just doesn't appeal to me. So now we're going to cook this. Of course, this is finishing up. Let's get our veggies going for the next meal. This is going to go by awful fast, guys. One of the bigger veggies we use, of course, is a mushroom for the next dish, which is spaghetti and olive oil. Now, a lot of people will tell you, take the stem off of the mushroom, and then just slice the mushroom like this, and then you have this kind of a mushroom look. I don't like that. I love stems. I love the extra part, and I love the way it looks when it has a stem on it. So I don't do that. I leave it like this so that the mushrooms in there actually have the stem and they're thin sliced and they look like that. If you don't want to slice your own mushrooms, that's fine. Open a jar of mushrooms. Trust me. Just make sure you drain it really well, because liquid is going to be something we need later on, but we don't want the mushroom liquid in there. We want liquid from our pasta, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute here. So we're getting our mushroom ready, our pasta is almost ready, and while part of our salad is ready, the croutons are still working. If you need to, or if you want to, you can turn the croutons heat up to to 400 if you're like in a hurry and you want to cook them right away. Just like toasting bread, it's like putting it in the toaster and turning it all the way up to 8. It's all the same. That was a horrible cut, Rick. That was a horrible cut. Okay, you saw that last way I cut it? Don't do it that way. That's a better way of doing it. So I got plenty of mushroom here. We're also, of course, going to put tomatoes. Like I said, we're going to have tomatoes in here. We're going to have onion in here. Let's check our pasta. Let's check our pasta. Okay, our pasta is ready. Okay? It pinches in between really easy, but there's not a snap, just a nice firmness on it. Now, here's what we do. Before we throw it into our colander, drain it, and we're going to use a big colander like this, and we're going to put it in the sink. Before we do that, let's take a couple of cups. This is a 2-cup measuring thing. Let's take 2 cups of our pasta water. Pasta water has the starch from the pasta. That starch is going to come back later to help us out as we're cooking, because when you're cooking spaghetti on the skillet with olive oil, it's going to tend to stick a little, and you don't want to just put cold water from the tap in there. You want to put nice warm pasta water in there, and that's what we're going to be doing with that 2 cups of pasta water. And it's, by the way, it's the same thing with spaghetti. If you're going to make it with, with any other kind of sauce, even a cream sauce, you want to save some of that pasta water always. So we have our angel hair. It's sitting in the sink. Believe me, it's sitting in the sink. Now we're still cutting up veggies for the next dish. Oh, so let's cut a few. I still like to have my grape tomatoes. I like to cut them in half. I don't, again, we're not cutting them so small in quarters or whatever where people are forced to eat them. But we're not going to keep them full either, where when you bite into them it squirts everywhere. Cut them in half. People don't like tomatoes. Flavor's already going to be in the food. They can pull out the tomato just like the mushrooms. They don't have to eat them. They can pull them out. We leave things big enough. Like I said, chunky chef here. We leave things big enough. It it's easy for your guests to take them out of there. Now, let's check, as we finish these 3 tomatoes right here, let's check on our, see, bunch of half tomatoes, very nice. Let's check on our croutons real quick. Croutons! Hey, I want you to go higher, croutons. Go higher. 370. Okay, and then let's do some onion. Now, here's the one part of the onion at the bottom. Has all this little hair on it. I cut off the top part, I peeled it back, and I cut it right in half, where there's always this part holding on to it. And you just make a couple of slices this way, and a couple of slices this way, and then you cut your onion, and you have beautifully diced little pieces of onion waiting for you. So, we've got our onion, we've got our mushrooms, we've got our tomatoes, and like I said, we have red chili powder. Okay, red chili flakes, I should say, not chili powder. There's a difference. Red chili flakes, which we have here, which is what you throw on pizzas and all that cool stuff. I really like chili flakes. If in the sink, if you want to, go ahead.
The red chili flakes, are those purchased? Are those previously chopped or grinded?
No, I myself just use the one out of the jar that you buy next to the jar of Parmesan. So it's crushed red pepper, or red chili flakes, whatever they call them. But it's the ones that we use from the store, and I just buy them in a jar because sometimes trying to get too much stuff done at home gets too difficult, and it's just easier that way. And of course, we have Parmesan cheese, which we're going to be using in a little while we're cooking our pasta. Anyway, going back to our pasta that's sitting in the sink, we do want to run some cold water through it. We want to move it around a little bit. And that will help it from sticking. The oil that we threw into the water, the oil and the salt that we threw in the water, was to add a little bit of flavor to it and keep it from sticking also. But once you put it over here, if you leave it in the sink and it's just sitting by itself in its own hot water, then it's going to start sticking to itself. So just run some cold water through it. As long as it's in the colander, it's not going to fill up. It's going to be fine. You'll drain it and it'll be fine. Now let's get these out of here. These are our beautiful croutons. You can see. Look at it. They're toasted very nicely. They're toasted very, very nicely on the side. And they're hot. So let's turn this back down to 350. Now remember, this is our salad right here. Basil, the cheese, the mozzarella cheese, the tomatoes, and it's going to have the crouton. We're going to throw the croutons back in here. They're going to get a little soggy if they have too much oil in here, or if too much liquid comes out of those cheeses. But all we're trying to do is top it off and warm it up. Hot. Now the cheese itself is going to melt a little bit. The cheese itself is going to melt a little bit, but excuse me, I need to cough. I need to figure out how to do this without you guys having to listen to me cough. But it's mozzarella, so it's very stringy, and you've got to be careful with that. When you're serving it, just remember that it could be stringy, but we did use our grater on it. We did grate some cheese, so it may not come out as stringy as, say, the big slice that we didn't grate. Now, we need our pan. What did I do with our pan? What did I do with our pan, Derek, Robert? Oh, I left it under my computer.
Yes,
if I know where I put it.
The computer.
Okay. If you remember from last week, I used this pan for my rice. See, it says green pan on it. Okay? So I used it for my rice. Now we're going to use it for our pasta. let's turn on this. Now, when you're turning on your back burner, you don't have to go on high all the time. In fact, I would prefer this one to be just above medium. It's going to take a little while longer, but if you put it on high, as soon as you put the pasta in there, it's just going to start sticking. We want stuff to be hot, but we don't want it to be sticky. Little bit of olive oil. Let's coat the bottom. We're not done with the olive oil, guys. Okay, look at this is my crouton. Beautiful, beautiful crouton. I want to eat it, but then you guys are going to hear me go crunch, crunch, crunch. Also, don't forget we need salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. And we have our warm water to keep it from sticking when it starts getting that way. So we're heating up some olive oil, making sure it gets all over this pan, because we're going to bring back our pasta. But let's think about what we have cut up, guys. We have onion. Onion takes longer to brown than mushrooms. Tomatoes take longer than mushrooms. So, and the pasta's already cooked. So what we need to really do is, let's go ahead and drop the onion in here. Oh, you're going to say, what happened to the garlic? You're absolutely right. That's a good point. But we're dropping the onion in here first. The onion's going to take longer to brown anyway, and it's okay to do that. Now here's the thing about garlic, guys. Here's the thing about garlic, and I have garlic over here. There's two ways of doing garlic. There's the hard way, which is you get your garlic, take a big knife, you put the flat end onto the garlic, and you squish it down to separate all the little pieces. Now you have this big mess of little pieces of garlic. And then you take each little clove, here's a clove, take the same knife, you squish it, and you unpeel the clove. Now you have a peeled clove of garlic. Unpeel the clove. Now you have a peeled clove of garlic. It's a little bit squished. You can squish it even more if you like. And then you chop it. You go chop, 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 chop. And then you turn it and you go chop, 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 chop. And then you make sure it's all on the board. And then you do like they do on TV, and you have your hand here, and you're like. And to really get a good chop and a good cut on garlic, you throw a little bit of salt on it. Now the salt is not for flavoring; it's acting as a texturizer. It helps hold it in place so you can actually chop it better. I forgot the proper word for it. And voila, beautiful garlic, guys. Look at this. It can even be chopped smaller than that if you like. Beautiful garlic. Or you can run over to your grocery store and you can buy a bottle of minced garlic. And then you open the bottle up and you get some out and you have garlic even minced even better than what I just did. I don't care how you do it. I have plenty of minced garlic. I use garlic in a lot of stuff, so I carry it around. But since I already did this one, the garlic goes in there like that. Now let's push this around a little bit. Let's push it around. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Let's throw some tomatoes in here. Let's cook this up. I know you can't smell it, but I promise you the smell of onion, garlic, and tomato is a beautiful smell. Let's throw some salt on there. Let's throw some pepper. My Texas-sized pepper mill. That's right, everything's bigger in Texas. Throw some pepper. Now, I'm not going to put the mushrooms in yet. The mushrooms are going to absorb a lot, so we don't want it in right away. What we want to do is throw our pasta in here. And now, our pasta's in here with the onion, with the garlic, soaking that up, soaking up that beautiful, beautiful olive oil that we threw in there. Like I said, it's going to stick a little bit. Don't be afraid to put a little bit of water. This is the warm pasta water. It still has a lot of starch in it, which is very good for what we're doing. But also you're like, okay, well, the onion and the garlic took up all of my olive oil. and it really soaked it up. And, you know, if you're a fan of olive oil like I am, then don't be afraid, while it's sitting like this, cooking some more, don't be afraid to throw some more olive oil on it. Ba, ba, ba. More olive oil. And now let's throw in our mushrooms, okay? We're going to let it cook for a little while. Let's check our salad. Oh, yeah. Okay. Also, do not burn yourself when you're doing this, guys. That people tend to frown on a chef who burns himself too much. So, ouch. But I'm okay. Thank you for asking, though. All of you listening, I know you guys are there, and I know you're concerned about me, but I'm okay. Thank you very much. All right. We got our mushrooms in there. We want them to soak up some of this great flavor. We've got our garlic, our onion, our tomatoes in here. And just like we did the other day, we want it to sit here. We want the liquid to run out of it a little bit. But guess what? We also have our red pepper flakes. So let's not forget our red pepper flakes, which if you like it very spicy, throw a lot of red pepper on there. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't, throw very little or none to it right now and let the people that you're serving add their own. I like red pepper flakes. I like it spicy. This is what it looks like as it's cooking, guys. Red pepper flakes. You can see the mushrooms, the tomatoes, there's onion, trust me, and garlic in there. That's what it looks like. Let's toss it a couple of times like this. Get the pepper flakes to the bottom. Move it all around a little bit. The great part about this is you don't have to add just these things. If you don't like any of these things, then add something else. You can add Brussels sprouts, guys. You can add carrots. You can add celery. You can do whatever veggie you like the best. And if you want to throw in, you know, if you want to grill some chicken and throw some grilled chicken on top, that's up to you. I'm just doing a very basic one today without the chicken. So now we have this looking like this. You can see the red pepper in there. You can see the mushrooms in here. We're going to turn this down even more. We're going to add a little bit more water. I don't want too much water. I don't want it to get too soggy, but I also don't need it to stick. And now, as we're going to let it stay here like this and reduce a little bit, it's a perfect time to add our Parmesan cheese. Now, here's the triangle of Parm. You can, if you have a block grater like I did earlier, you can use one of the sides. I like to use a smaller handheld grater. And so I have this one. This is a children's grater. It was for children's cooking that I found at Williams-Sonoma. But I like orange, very bright, and I also like the kind of grate I get off of it. So just do this with it like this, as much cheese as you want. In my house, that means we're going to use probably almost the whole thing because, well, I love cheese and I know my wife loves cheese. You can ask her, she'll say, I love cheese. Oh my goodness. You may not even get any of this, guys. It may be gone before she even gets home. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you what the salad looks like. Remember, you pulled the salad out, but that doesn't mean this dish isn't still hot. Okay. Now you're saying, okay, I see the croutons there, but look on the bottom. Look on the bottom. You can see that it has melted. The cheese is melted. The basil's there. Let me serve it for you on a plate so we can have a better idea of what we're looking at here. I'll get this plate. Let me clear off my workstation. That looks beautiful. Okay, here's a better idea of what we're looking at. First of all, the croutons, and I made these very big because I just like them that way. Okay, but the croutons are also, it's just like an appetizer, guys. It's just there to fill people, give them something to eat. Look at this. Look at the way that mozzarella is just coming off of there. Okay, and then throw a couple more croutons on the plate. They have the mozzarella, they have basil. Let's throw some more tomato on there. We have tomato. Okay. Now, where's my little? You can see beautiful basil, mozzarella, the cheese, the warm bread. If you're going to use store-bought croutons, they're going to be smaller, so don't worry about it. It's a lot easier for somebody to eat. This is still very nice, and people can still eat this like this and the rest with the fork. And then, if you're going to serve it on the same plate, and then this is easy to serve from over here. We have a little bit of pasta with all of our ingredients. All of our wonderful ingredients, including the sauce. Okay, now this is just a small plate, guys, but it's enough to show you what I'm talking about. You have the mushrooms, you have the tomato, you have the red pepper flakes. If you want to add more, you add, after you serve it, you add cheese, but to the pasta. Don't put this cheese on your margarita salad because it doesn't come with this kind of cheese. You add more red pepper flakes. And guys, those are two dishes right there. You have a salad, you have a pasta. And like I said, if you want to grill chicken, you can throw grilled chicken on it. This is, and you can see how quickly we got this done. This is very basic, but a very delicious Italian dish that you guys will, you will shock people with. They will really, really, really enjoy it. And I think you guys will too. Let's go back to me now. Okay, because this is still a little bit about me. All right, there you guys are. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining me. We made 2 dishes and homemade croutons from scratch today, guys. We made them today. We made all of this right now. Thank you for joining me. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know I enjoy teaching it. I'll be on the road. I'll be in Texas next week. I don't think we will. I'm not sure which house we're going to be in, so I probably won't do anything next week. It'll be 2 weeks from now. And I expect in 2 weeks, I expect to do a Hawaiian theme. We're going to do some kebabs, but we're going to do indoor kebabs. We're going to do a little bit of rice. I know it's going to be really nice. It's going to be a nice little Hawaiian tropical theme we're going to do.
Yeah,
Derek
your coconut
Lucio
bra
sitting
stuff.
over there. If I have to wear a coconut bra, I will. If that brings all the boys to the yard, then that's what I'll do. Because my coconut milkshakes bring all, okay. Anyway, I won't sing that song for you. Today, my moderator, my producer, Derek Lucio. I am Chef Mick. This is a Revolution video presentation. Remember, guys, know how to cook. You can marry for looks. See y'all later. Bye.